Let's bring in our first guest for today. It's a follow-up of yesterday's story dun sa sa
Senate
literacy.
hearing ni Win Gatchalian.
Oo, dun sa
Yes.
I keep forgetting that first word functional literacy.
Yan.
Issue ng
Yes.
Pilipinas. We have Hannibal Camua, the Executive Director ng Philippine Business for Education or PBED. Sir, magandang hapon and welcome to Storycon.
Magandang hapon, no? Ganda ng pangalan niyo po. Yan ang paborito kong serial killer eh.
Good afternoon po.
Kung
Amy and Sir Ronald, good afternoon po.
kung mapipili ko yung pangalan ko, nung pinanganak ako, yan ang pipiliin ko eh, no?
Ikaw talaga. Okay, sige. Mamaya ka na magulo dyan. Okay, so, sir, let me start off with this. Yeah, it was shocking for a lot of people. Pero I also looked back dun sa PSA website. Nung 2019, they also had, of course, the same survey on functional literacy. Pero mukhang iba pa yung kanilang batayan ng kung ano yung functional literacy at that time in 2019. When I saw the Excel file na pinablish ng PSA doon sa 2019 functional literacy survey nila, puro 100% ang functional literacy ng mga age groups. And then they changed mukha tayong mga genius.
Oo nga eh.
And then they changed the definition. Thankfully, they changed the definition to something more realistic which requires comprehension. Ngayon, nagbagsakan yung numbers.
Pakakaramihan ng ating politiko, bumagsak din eh.
So let me start off, sir, with that premise. So mukhang doon pa lang sa at least in the earlier years, yung premises were a bit faulty, and I suppose we might have been deluding ourselves. Now we were so literate all these years, at least until last year.
You're correct, Sir Ed, no? Kasi nagkaroon ng revision doon sa definition ng functional literacy. Unang-una, ang nagbago po dito is nagkaroon po nung revision doon sa, particularly on the aspect of high school graduate, na kapag high school graduate, literate na kagad. But for the 2024 FLEMS, for the 2024 FLEMS po, tinanggal po nila yung automatic categorization na yon. So even high school graduates now, and then they are being part of the survey, they were actually part of the survey population, at doon po nakita na even high school graduates, even graduates of our senior high school are not
Functionally illiterate.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Kaya puro 100% yung 2019. Pero sir, di ba, wouldn't that have been weird na parang we assumed that, or is it weird, na just because you graduate from high school, you were functionally literate, therefore that's assumed already?
Dapat. High school graduate ka, hindi ka literate functionally. Parang
Pilipinas to eh.
Dapat
Siguro pakidefine kung
sir.
ano ba yung competencies mo if you are functionally literate.
Paano si Manny Mugato? Baka hindi po masaya.
Ano yun? Kasi tama si Ed, for the longest time we thought that the Philippines has one of the highest literacy rates in the world actually. Bakit ganun? Bakit biglang nagkaganon? Ano ba yung mga competencies ng functionally literate person?
Tsaka dagdag lang dito sa usapin na to. Paano yung World Bank din, sinabi na 91% ang ating learning poverty. Tapos yung PISA, sinabi rin, no? Itong OECD segment ng education arm nila, yung PISA, ang sabi, bagsak din tayo. So hindi ito nangyayari in a vacuum. No? Sunod-sunod ito eh. Na yung a year ago, muntik din tayong bumagsak halimbawa doon sa ating maritime education. Buti na lang, bilikan tayo ng extension. Yun yung biggest dollar earner natin sa lahat ng OFW, seafarers. So, what's happening with our education? No? Ano nangyayari?
Ano nga yung functionally literate? Ano ba yun?
Ma'am Amy, to answer your question in terms of the definitions, ngayon sa bagong definition po kasi, PSA categorized basic literacy po muna na able to read, write, and compute. No? Yan yung basic literacy sa new definition. On functional literacy naman po, sa new definition na ginamit ngayon sa 2024 FLEMS, able to read, write, compute,
and comprehend.
Which means po na marunong pong magbigay ng inferences based on, let's say, different sets or paragraphs na nabasa niya, nakakapag-infer po o nagkakaroon ng, let's say, causality. No? So baka that is the current definition or the new definition na inadopt ng PSA on functional literacy. Kaya what we can explain po with na matataas yung numbers, mataas yung number ngayon ng functionally illiterate kasi pwede po na marunong magbasa, marunong magsulat, pero hindi niya naiintindihan yung kanyang nababasa or hindi siya makakagawa ng correct na inferences from what the person have read.
Pero di ba basic
Pero
yan?
hindi kaya yan na actually yung definition ng literacy actually natin dati baliktad siya eh. Na we were actually defining our literacy rate based on what we now describe as basic literacy. Baka naman ganun yung sitwasyon natin. Na talagang for the longest time, actually, ang mataas natin is basic literacy at hindi yung functional. Hindi kaya posible din yun?
Yung definition ng PSA, basic literacy is read and write.
Oo nga.
Doon sa may basic literacy na old definition, able to read and write po. Tapos yung functional literacy, old definition niya is able to read, write, and compute. So ang nagbago po talaga sa the comprehension part and
nadagdagan siya.
The ability to do inferences.
Pero di ba basic yan? Kailangan nauunawaan mo yung binabasa mo. Hindi naman yun na mahirap, di ba? Kung marunong ka magbasa at magsulat, dapat naunawaan mo yung binabasa mo.
Ikaw naman, you assume too much eh.
Oh, hindi.
Tingnan mo lang sa social media eh.
Ang sinasabi ko kasi, yung context dito ay yung nilabas ng World Bank na 91% learning poverty at yung sinabi ng PISA. Ibig sabihin, inuulit ko, this doesn't exist in a vacuum. Ibig sabihin, nagde-deteriorate talaga yung ating education. Hindi lang yung criteria. Diba? Nag-deteriorate yung education mo. Dati kasi, very competitive tayo sa global market eh. Diba? Kaya ang dami nating OFW eh. Kaya ang biggest dollar earner natin, OFW. Ang kinakabahan ko, baka yung susunod na generation ay hindi na competitive. Dahil yung mga neighbors natin, nag-i-scale up ang education. Diba? Vietnam, Thailand, China, etc. Tapos tayo nag-i-scale down. No? Hindi lang quantitatively, kundi qualitatively. Inuulit ko yung seafarers na muntik na tayong ipagbawal sa Europe. Tayo yung 25% ng seafarers sa mundo galing sa atin eh. That is the single biggest dollar earner ng ating OFW. Ibig sabihin, muntik na tayong bumagsak ha. So, tinitignan ko yung the forest eh. Yung buong educational system, what's happening? Diba? Dahil kailangan mo idikit yan doon sa kabuuan ng mga lumalabas na pag-aaral na pabagsak ng ating educational system.
You're correct, Sir Ronald. No? Number one, kami sa Philippine Business for Education, matagal na po naming sinasabi na meron po talagang education crisis sa Pilipinas. Even as early as 2017, sinasabi na po namin na may problema at napakalaki ng problema on the education crisis. Even before the pandemic, napakalaki na din po ng learning poverty. Katulad po ng sinabi ninyo doon sa World Bank report na there's a 91% learning poverty among learners here in the Philippines. So itong lumabas po na to na resulta ng FLEMS, 2024 FLEMS, ay ano po siya, nakakagulat yung numbers pero actually for a system, education system that has been plagued by let's say, problems, ito po ay affirmation na talagang may problema sa sistema. So, if you are looking at more or less 18 million high school graduates, ibig sabihin dumaan sa sistema ng edukasyon, pero hindi siya functionally literate. And that's a question. That's a very questionable let's say, paano kung hindi siya marunong binasa. So it also compounds, no, as what you've also mentioned, Sir Ronald, na particularly sa workforce. Tayo sa Pilipinas, sinasabi natin na meron tayong demographic dividend. Kasi ang ating population ngayon, we have a very young population which will actually become the fuel for our workforce. But if we're looking at the workforce na may ganitong level of reading, writing, and comprehension, instead of a demographic dividend, baka magkaroon tayo ng demographic liability. Because, go ahead, sir.
But sir, I suppose it's also all the more alarming considering how active the Philippines is in social media. Ang hilig natin mag-engage sa social media, it turns out that a lot of us pala do not even understand what we're reading, and we like to write.
Kaya very vulnerable tayo sa fake news at saka disinformation dahil wala kang basic comprehension.
Vulnerable to fake news and likely to spread fake news.
Kaya dikit-dikit siya.
Anong tanong mo?
Hindi naman tanong.
Hindi, nag-comment lang sa Ed.
Hindi, ako tanong mo na lang. So, ang tinatanongin ng mga tao, what can be done? Yung grupo niyo, I'm sure, you're coming up with suggestions. Marami na kayo naging suggestion Ano bang pwede? Kasi ngayon, may isang grupo sabi, we need one army of literacy tutors. Akbayan nagsabi niyan. Sa inyo, on your part, ano ang pwede, yung viable?
Ma'am Ami, maraming salamat sa question na yun. No? Actually, we agree that there should be that army of tutors. And actually, may bagong pasang batas on that. No? Meron tayong aral law. Na yung aral law actually will mobilize yung mga education students to become, let's say, para teachers or mga tutors. And I think there should be a targeted response, Ma'am Ami. No? If I'm going to say it, because if we look at the FLEM survey right now, maganda na ipinakita din kung alin yung mga top provinces, no? Yung mga provinces na mayroong mataas na literacy rates, and then yung mga provinces na may mga mabababang literacy rate. But what does that say, no? I think from the result of the FLEMS, kailangan nating tingnan na the problem could also be localized, no? And so that we need to empower our local governments to solve the, let's say, literacy concerns or literacy problems in their locality. If, again, if we are to mobilize, let's say, para teachers or tutors, I think it's the local government who is best and able to mobilize this as soon as possible. Because the local governments are our foot soldiers on the ground. Sila yung nandoon, sila yung nakikipag-usap sa ating mga teachers, sila yung nakikipag-usap sa mga parents. So I think the suggestion of organizing or coming up with, let's say, army of these tutors or para-teachers is a really good and a low-hanging fruit na pwede natin gamitin to arrest this, let's say, learning crisis, particularly on literacy. But for more systemic reforms, which kami naman sa PIBED, yun naman talaga yung pinupush namin, we need to look at more systemic reforms that go beyond the terms of our elected officials. So for example, kaya sinasabi namin, we need to look at how to best empower also local governments to make, let's say, education decisions, particularly on, let's say, education management. Because as what I've said earlier, ito pong mga problema sa education, most of them can actually be solved at the local level. And then, context-wise and context-specific, these problems can also be addressed.
Nabanggit mo nga na ito ay mga low
level po.
Nabanggit mo na ito nga ay mga low-hanging fruits. Ibig sabihin, pwede itong gawin immediately. Pwede itong gawin kahapon. Diba? Meron ba kayong mga pilot na pwedeng sabihin na, ito nagawa namin sa isang lugar o sa isang eskwelahan, no? Para maging basis ng isang feasibility study na quick burn. Hindi kasi pwedeng slow burn. Yung sinasabi niyong systemic, mas strategic yon, mas long term. Pero sa ngayon, para bigyan naman natin ng element of hope yung ating bansa na ini-improve natin yung education, yung suggestion nyo ba ay meron ng pilot?
Thank you for the question, Sir Ronald. Actually, for the past 2 years, meron kaming pilot program. It's a small program that we did with Accenture Philippines. Ang tawag namin doon ay KD Learning Train or KLT. Ang ginawa namin dito ay it's a tutoring program for pre-K to 3, from kinder until grade 3. So, based on that program po, Sir Ronald, nagkaroon kami ng magandang resulta. We implemented it in Cebu and also in Himamaylan City and Negros Occidental. At nakita naming resulta noon is almost 200% improvement sa literacy and numeracy skills ng mga bata. We started at the kindergarten and also grade 1, 2, and 3 levels because we believe na ang literacy should be started early on. No?
Formative years yan.
Writing, literacy, dapat early grades po yan.
Formative years yan. Diyan nahuhubog ang utak.
Sir, I do get what you mean na malaki yung malaki yung burden dito sa local government units eh. Pero wouldn't you also want to standardize everything? I mean kasi you have different local government units with different capabilities and different sets of resources eh. But in the end, wouldn't you, for example, a poor area, poor region may not have as much resources as Region 4A or Central Luzon.
Pero Ed, hindi sila kasi gobyerno eh.
I know.
NGO lang sila.
In terms of recommendations in terms of recommendations, I understand what you mean, sir, na malaki yung maiambag ng LGUs. Pero shouldn't we do something on the national scale with the national government, specifically with DepEd, I don't know, in terms of curriculum or training teachers? What would we recommend as far as that is concerned? May concern lang kasi sir, baka maging uneven yung growth or development if we leave it to the LGUs.
Tama naman po, Sir Ed, no? Particularly for, let's say, national and direction setting would be with DepEd. Particularly, let's say, with curriculum. I agree with that, no? Standardize yung curriculum. But in terms of delivery, that's where we can actually really put in the role of local governments. And also, just in terms of empowering local governments, we can do it po kasi na parang step-by-step siya. Unahin po natin yung mga local governments na mayroong capacity to do it on their own. No? For example, yung mga malalaking local governments natin na mayroon na talagang malalaking special education funds.
May isa pa akong tanong, what about yung medium of instruction? Kasi sabi ko nga hanggang ngayon, hindi pa tayo magkasundo kung ano talaga yung dapat gamiting medium of instruction, pati yung sa mother tongue, pati yung mga educators, sinasabi nila, nahihirapan sila eh. Uneven yung resulta eh. Sa tingin nyo, how should we tweak that program? Saka ano ba talagang dapat natin gamiting lengguwahe sa mga school?
Tama po kayo. Ang kami sa PIBEL talaga sinusuportahan po namin ng paggamit ng mother tongue. Particularly because again, ang paggamit po ng mother tongue, especially at the early years, doon mo mas na talagang tataas ang comprehension skills ng bata doon sa paggamit ng mother tongue. But unfortunately po, the implementation of mother tongue was actually suspended by virtue of the law. Sa PIBED, patuloy po kami na nananawagan na kailangan bisitahin po natin yan. Kailangan we need to revisit that policy because the problem might not be in the concept of using mother tongue as medium of instruction, but rather on the implementation, the actual implementation of mother tongue when we did it a few years ago. Yun po, Ma'am Amy.
Nakausap niyo na ba formally si Secretary Angara tungkol diyan sa mga proposal niyo?
Sir Ronald, yes, we have been constantly naman po coordinating with DepEd as a non-government organization po kami. So and we constantly engage the Department of Education and of course Secretary Sani Angara with all these recommendations that we have.
Okay. May mga project kayo doon, di ba, after the pandemic? Dahil ang resulta nga nung, I think you conducted studies na after 2 years of lockdowns, Maraming mga bata who were left behind eh. Ano yung latest ninyo doon? Yung progress ng ano? Nagkaroon yata kayo ng mga intervention programs, di ba? To improve the situation.
Sorry, Ma'am Amy, you're
ano na yung latest ninyo? Kasi nung nag-lockdowns, yung study ninyo maraming estudyante who were left behind because of the pandemic lockdowns. At saka tumutulong kayo noon, alam ko meron kayong mga programs noon para nga mabawasan nga yung impact ng lockdowns sa mga estudyante. Anong progress ng mga programs no? Na yung mga ganon, yung interventions ninyo?
Makinig ni
Hindi yata.
Mr. Kamwa. Sir, did you hear, sir? Mr. Kamwa?
So yung mga programs po.
Yes.
Sorry, Ma'am Amy, if I got the question correctly, you're asking about the updates on our program po, no? Itong mga programs, Ma'am Amy, we are implementing it naman as a pilot, independent from, let's say, the implementation of DepEd as well. Particularly just in terms of yung learning recovery during the pandemic, isa katulad po nung sinabi ko kanina, yung KD Learning Train po na intervention namin for early graders. Yun po yung isa sa mga interventions namin. We have actually finished implementation of that in Cebu and also in Himamaylan City and Negros Occidental. And yung mga recommendations po and learnings, key findings coming from that implementation of the program, we actually shared with DepEd. And I think po from there, because that program or that intervention is actually using digital resources as well, I think DepEd has already taken that forward in terms of certain partnership with digital learning providers. So ginagawa na rin po ng DepEd yan. But in terms po of let's say ano yung mga interventions at ano yung mga naging impact for learning recovery post-pandemic, for now, kami sa Philippine Business for Education, yung aming program on remediation, reading and numeracy is what we have po.
Okay. Maraming salamat for joining us this afternoon, PBED Executive Director Hannibal Kamwa. Thank you, sir.
Salamat, Ginoong Hannibal.
Thank you.
So much din po. Maraming salamat.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.